All right, if you will turn to page 190 in your Go Math book, if you're not already there, today or now we are going to work on estimating to benchmarks. So a benchmark is like a familiar number used as a point of reference. Okay, so a lot of times we might round to the nearest 10 or the hundreds. Well, when we round in decimals, a lot of times we round to 0. If it's really small, we'll round down to 0. Or 25 hundredths, or 0.5, which is half, or 0.75, which is 3/4 of something. So 0, a fourth, a half, 3/4. All right, so 0.25, 0.5, 0.75. So when we look at this, we will see, if you look on the line graph, we're going to try to add 0.18 and 0.43. All right, so if we add, let me make this a little bigger. So if we take the number 0.18 and we place it on the number line, we will see that it is closer to 0.75 than it is to 0. All right, so it is closer to 0.75 than it is to 0. So we're going to use 0.25 as our benchmark. All right, and then the 0.43, when we place that on the number line, that would be somewhere over here, right? 0.43. That's closer to 50. So we're going to say that it's closer to 0.50. So 0.5043 is closer to 0.50. So we're going to use that as our benchmark. So our numbers are 25 hundredths plus 50 hundredths, or half. So 1/4 plus 1/2. And when we add these two numbers together, we get 0.75. So when we estimate, 0.18 plus 0.43 is about 0.75. Okay. Now we're going to use benchmarks to subtract. All right, and we're going to use the exact same benchmarks that we used before: 0, 0.25, 0.50, and 0.75, and then 1. So 0.76 is between 0.75 and 1. So which is it closer to? Is it closer to 0.75 or is it closer to 0.1? Well, it's much closer to 0.75. So we will use 0.75 as our benchmark for 0.76. So I'm going to go ahead and write this down here so it's there. And then our next number is 0.22. So 0.22 would go on the number line somewhere around here. And it is closer to 0.25 than it is to 0. So we would use 0.25. And we are subtracting this time. So 75 minus 25 is 50. And then we add a decimal point because we're working with decimals. All right, so 0.76 minus 0.22 is about 5 tenths, 50 hundredths, halfway through, whatever it was that they might be measuring. So half, 0.5 is also half, which doesn't really relate to this particular thing, but you do need to remember that in some instances you're talking about half of something when you talk about 0.5. All right, we will go ahead and move on to page 191.